Equals May 1940. The Channel lay gray and heavy beneath a sky of iron clouds. Captain Alistair Reeves stood on the bridge of HMS Valiant, his destroyer slicing through the Atlantic chill. Reports from France were grim. The Wehrmacht had broken through at Sedan. France was crumbling. Reeves had spent nights escorting merchant convoys, shepherding lifelines of munitions and supplies across violent seas. As dawn broke over Portsmouth, orders arrived. The fleet was to prepare for emergency operations along the French coast. Reeves felt the weight of the situation settle over him. "It begins," murmured his first officer. Reeves replied quietly, "No, it continues." He looked toward the horizon where the smoke of war was rising over Europe, knowing the coming days would test every ounce of courage his crew possessed.
3 days later, Reeves' flotilla steamed south through the Channel, escorting a convoy of freighters bound for Le Havre. The tranquility of the gray sea shattered as Luftwaffe Stukas appeared from the clouds. Their siren screamed, delivering the sound of terror itself. "All guns open fire," Reeves roared into the voice tube. The ship erupted, in thunder, pom-poms rattling, Bofors barking defiance. One bomber plunged, aflame, into the water beside the ship. Then another swooped close enough that the crew could see the pilot's goggles gleam. Explosions lit the waves. Fragments tore through decks. After 20 minutes, the air raid ended, leaving only burning oil and drifting wreckage behind. Reeves wiped soot from his face, glancing at the calm sea where men had vanished moments before. "Carry on," he said hoarsely as the convoy limped forward toward the French coast.
By June, the Wehrmacht's advance had become unstoppable. Reeves received orders to proceed to Brest to evacuate British technicians and wounded troops trapped in the port. The city was in chaos. Columns of smoke rising from the docks, warehouses ablaze, civilians fleeing through rubble. As Valiant threaded into the harbor, enemy artillery began to strike. Reeves shouted orders above the din. "Get them aboard, now!" The destroyer's crew formed human chains, hauling men and supplies from the burning quayside. One shell struck the far pier, sending a plume of concrete and flame skyward. A frightened soldier clutched Reeves' sleeve. "Are we going home, sir?" Reeves nodded grimly. "Home, and soon." As the last lines were cast off, Valiant surged backward out of the inferno, carrying hundreds who would live to fight again.
The Channel. That night was slick and black, reflecting the distant glare of burning France. Reeves stood beneath the stars, exhausted, the hum of the engines a lullaby of survival. They had more evacuees than bunks, wounded lying in corridors, civilians huddled on deck. The wireless crackled. Dunkirk was underway. Britain's sons and allies were fighting for their lives on every shore. Reeves felt the weight of history pressing close, the sense that his ship had become one of thousands struggling to hold the line of civilization itself. He walked among the men, pausing beside a sailor tending to a French child. "She lost her mother, sir," the sailor whispered. Reeves knelt, wrapped his coat around her, and murmured, "You're safe now." For a fleeting moment, amid chaos, humanity endured.
June 10th, Dover Naval Command. Reeves stood before Admiral Ramsey, the architect of Operation Dynamo. Charts and smoke-hazed air filled the underground command post. Ramsey's words were plain. "Captain Reeves, you'll lead a small task group to Cherbourg. That port must be cleared tonight before it's lost." Reeves saluted sharply, understanding the peril. Back aboard Valiant, he briefed his crew. "We go back again, for the last time, perhaps." The men said nothing, only nodded. They knew what waited, the Luftwaffe overhead, German armor closing in, and the Channel turning into a battlefield. As Valiant cast off, dawn broke, streaking the sea with gold. For Reeves and his crew, the line between duty and doom had vanished under the same gray waves they had called home.
Cherbourg was a city in ruin when Valiant arrived under cover of dusk. Fires smoldered along the quays. The air reeked of oil and desperation. German columns were approaching from the south. Reeves ordered all powerboats launched, crew fanning through shattered streets to gather the remnants of the British Expeditionary Force. Tracer fire licked the skyline. One boat returned half-sunk, its coxswain dead at the tiller. Reeves clenched his fists but pressed on. Every life aboard mattered. By midnight, Valiant's decks groaned under weight. Men, armaments, wounded officers, even a French colonel carrying his shattered regimental banner. As shells thundered from inland, Reeves whispered to himself, "Hold her steady, boys, just a little longer." The sea opened ahead, a black road to salvation.
A gale swept through the channel as Valiant pushed northward, laden to the gunwales. Sheets of rain lashed the decks. The ship rolled violently, and a swell nearly buried the bow. Reeves gripped the rail, shouting over the storm, "Engines steady! Keep her nose to the wind!" The crew battled fatigue and the sea alike, tending to wounded below as waves pounded steel. Lightning revealed faces pale with exhaustion, but no man faltered. Over wireless, the Admiralty confirmed Dunkirk was nearly done. The last troops had been lifted. Reeves felt a surge of bitter pride. For all the wreckage, for every lost ship, the Navy had endured. At dawn, as the wind eased, France slipped away over the horizon. The Channel, once again, had become Britain's final moat and defense.
When Valiant entered Portsmouth Harbor the next day, the docks were lined with weary figures, soldiers, nurses, dockhands, watching ships pour in from Dunkirk and beyond. Reeves stepped down the gangway, uniform soaked, boots heavy with salt. Around him, the smell of burnt oil and metal lingered. A young sailor approached, voice trembling. "Did we do enough, sir?" Reeves looked at the man, at the chaos around them, and answered softly, "We brought them home. That's enough for today." Silence fell as sirens wailed somewhere in the distance, an air raid over London beginning again. The war was not over, perhaps not for years, but in that moment, amidst exhaustion and ruin, there flickered something fierce, resolve.
In the weeks that followed, the Channel remained restless but quieter. Reeves found himself inspecting convoys again, small lines of ships moving beneath the watchful eyes of the coast defenses. Each voyage carried echoes of the desperate days now behind. France was gone. Europe lay in darkness. Yet Britain stood, an island fortress beneath the droning echoes of war. Reeves often paused at sunset, gazing toward the invisible coast across the water. He thought of those left behind, of faces lost to bombings and sea. The Channel had become both graveyard and guardian. "She'll hold," Reeves said one evening to his first officer. The younger man nodded. "She always does, sir." Above them, the gulls wheeled through golden light as engines hummed on toward destiny.
By year's end, Reeves sat alone in his cabin, logbook open before him. He had recorded every sail, every rescue, every farewell. The war stretched on, the Blitz raging, the Atlantic in turmoil, but tonight the Channel lay quiet outside his porthole. He could still hear the roar of bombers and the cries on the docks, yet within him there remained something unbroken. He raised a glass to the memory of fallen comrades. "To the men who never came home," he said softly. The sea beyond reflected the steady pulse of the moon, limitless and eternal. It had taken much, yet it had also carried them all. Reeves closed the log and set it aside, knowing that tomorrow the orders would come again, and he would go. For that was the duty of sailors, to endure, to protect, to return.